this episode of Travelogue, we'll show you how people around XI'AN lived 6,000 years ago. Get a free history lesson nearby the terracotta warriors and visit the playground of China's emperors. We'll try to catch a glimpse of a sacred Buddhist relic, take in a folk art performance and much more. Hi, I'm James Lamb. Welcome to Travelogue. This is a city of superlatives. This was the first real metropolis in the world. This was the first city on Earth to have over 1 million people. This was the great melting pot of peoples, cultures, mood. Yes, this is XI'AN City. In the previous episode, we circumnavigated XI'AN's magnificent city wall and explored its colourful Muslim quarter. Today, we'll delve deeper into XI'AN's glorious past. And now we're at the city's Ba River, which hosted an event that made world history over a millennium ago. The Ba River has a knack for hosting big events. It hosted the world's first expo during the Tang Dynasty over 1,000 years ago, and it was when China showed off its latest technology. Now it's in the midst of hosting the International Horticultural Expo, and it's full of life again. It's interesting that while today's expo is about peace and harmony between nature and mankind, the world's first expo held here was on a similar theme, showcasing the latest means people had developed for travelling by water. Although the Tang Dynasty seemed like a long time ago, there has been civilizations here dating even further back. And for more on this region's fascinating past, we have just the place for you. We're here at a really old village, basically a Stone's Age village, and this is where you get to see the Chinese version of the Freddie and Wilma Flintstones. And this place is actually older than the terracotta warriors, so really excited. The Banpo Museum was built to preserve the intriguing archaeological remains of a large area of well-organised Neolithic settlements. Excavations have revealed these settlements were surrounded by a defensive moat. Communal burials and pottery kilns have also been uncovered. Being here just makes you want to find out more. Very educational. Three-age system of archaeology divides human technological prehistory into three periods: the Stone Age, Bronze Age and Iron Age. The Neolithic period, the time during which the Banpo people lived, belongs to the later part of the Stone Age and is characterized by the adoption of agriculture, the shift from food gathering to food producing, one of the most revolutionary changes in human history.
It's a bit far from the river spot. That's why they made the spots a little tiny, so in case the water spill out, we have our time. Go to the top natural condition. Right. Yeah, let's go this way. Free English tour guide.
Banpo is a very important archaeological site, and over here you can see the way the Stone Age people lived, and this is the foundation of their homes. And but for me, I can't really make out what it used to be like, so I really need to use my imagination.
Pottery bowls and bottles with pointed bottom were left underground when foundation of the house was excavated.
For unimaginative people like me, this is my saviour. Let's see what we've got here. This display panel is excellent because it shows you how the houses were made. And over here, let's see what we've got. This guy putting up this pillar, and then over there, someone's rendering a wall. I find it absolutely fascinating how people around the world, like Stone Age people around the world, used to build houses really similar to this. And that was back in the day where there was no communication, so they developed it all entirely independently. Incredible. I thought I knew something about Chinese history, but I'll leave this place with more questions than answers. I had no idea how these primitive people, these Stone Age people, make such perfectly shaped pottery without today's technology. So if you do come here, I recommend that you do lots of reading beforehand. Up next, we'll take you to see how the terracotta warriors were created, visit the home of China's mythical creator, and then enter the fabled playground of the Emperor Xuanzong and his beloved imperial consort. Travellers from all over the world come to XI'AN to see its extraordinary museum of terracotta warriors and horses. Well, I can tell you there's much more to see than just the pits of soldiers and horses. When you visit the terracotta warriors, make sure to see this great workshop nearby. The highly knowledgeable staff here can tell you everything you would ever want to know about the terracotta warriors. Here's your chance to get those burning questions off your chest.
General has a double nose hat.
Okay.
It's very easy to recognize. The double nose hat is the general, the highest rank.
Right.
The officer, the medium rank. The armor, you may also tell the differences. See, that is the general's armor. We also call him 5-star general. Count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-star general. Right. And this is the cavalry soldier. He wears a flat hat. And he was riding on the horse. He is also a very interesting one because he's the only man who wears a skirt in the army because the short skirt was more convenient for him to ride on the horse.
Right. Okay. So what would he have carried in his hand?
Usually a sword.
A sword.
A sword. Okay. Yes. And that's the infantry. Infantry's armor is very simple, and he was holding a weapon like that, like the big one up there.
Okay, like a spear.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the archer. The archer's hairnet is opposite. It is on the left.
Okay, it's on the left.
Yeah, because when he wants to shoot, he has to put the arrow from his arrow bag on the back and then shoot like this.
Okay.
So this way was more convenient.
All right.
So this is map is a Shanxi province map in China. Looks like the leading archer one, right? That's a coincidence.
Yeah, general.
The general?
And an archer.
Archer.
Generals and an archer.
Cool. What are you going to do with it when you get home?
Well, this will be for my kung fu teacher, and these will be for us.
Really nice of you.
Thank you. We have
If they order a lot, can they ship it? So you can see the terracotta warriors from the viewing platform. You couldn't quite touch them, but over here you can have your very own terracotta warrior. You can take one of these home. And basically, if you have a small backpack like me and you don't think that you can fit them in here, it's pretty convenient because they can ship one of those back home in these boxes for you. Although it's been suggested that the thousands of terracotta warriors uncovered are in fact portraits of real people, the British historian Francis Hood argues that this is unlikely. Apart from the practical difficulties of bringing together thousands of soldiers to pose for the artisans to make their likeness in clay, the assembly of the buried army was an industrial rather than an artistic project. I guess this is still open to debate. There are plenty of workshops like this around the terracotta warrior sites, but make sure you come to a high quality one, a reputable one like this, because really good souvenirs are actually quite hard to make, especially the facial features, the detailing around it. Okay, now off to the next site, XI'AN, which is just around the corner. We've just had lunch at the bottom of the mountain. It was a bit pricey because this is a very touristy place. And now we're heading up to Laomu Den, which is the second tallest peak at XI'AN mountain. So let's see what's up there. XI'AN's biggest claim to fame is that this was where the world was saved. Well, at least according to Chinese mythology. It is said that a war between the gods of water and fire left a hole in the sky that threatened disaster to the earth. Laomu, the goddess Nuwa, saved the day by melting rocks, which she used to patch up the hole in the sky. Laomu can mean mother in Chinese, and in China's earliest dictionary, she was said to be in charge of breeding all living things. And legend has it, she was the creator of mankind. According to legend, the goddess Laomu created man out of clay, so she's credited with creating the Chinese nation. And couples who want to have kids or children, they come here to hang their wishes up here. So, you know, if you want kids, you definitely know where to come. Walking around this scenic mountain, you'll see why this area was a favourite playground for emperors. Xi'an is surrounded by green spaces like this, the Li Mountain, and it's really nice to be out and about on a beautiful day. And just right down there is the Huaqing Pool, and that used to be the playground of Tang emperors and the famous Yang Guifei. Lots of legends have developed around that place. Very intriguing. Located at the foot of Lishan, Huaqing Pool is a complex of hot springs which was part of a grand spring palace, twice the size of the Forbidden City in Beijing. Built in 723 by Emperor Xuanzong, Huaqing Pool became famous for being the setting of the love story involving the emperor and his concubine Yang Yuhuan. With Guifei being the highest rank for imperial consorts during her time, she's also called Yang Guifei. Yang Guifei spent many hours here bathing to keep her skin silky and fresh. The Huaqing Pool utilizes natural geothermal heating and was taken advantage of by the rulers of various Chinese dynasties. The hot spring water temperature is at a constant 40 degrees Celsius. King-size bathing pool. Let's go see what a concubine's pool looks like. Yang Guifei wasn't allowed to use the emperor's pool, so Emperor Xuanzong, he actually built this one specifically for her. That just goes to show how much he loved her. It would have been a lot nicer than this though. In his later years, Emperor Xuanzong's preoccupation with Yang Guifei caused him to neglect state affairs. During a rebellion in 756, the emperor's general and guards forced him to order that Yang Guifei be put to death, as they blamed the rebellion on her and her family. It's a tragic love story that has inspired Chinese artists, writers and TV series creators. That's Lishan up there. Now, wandering around the Huaqing Pool has really given me a fascinating glimpse into what Tang Dynasty garden used to look like. But as it gets darker, this place is going to come alive. There's going to be a performance of the Song of Everlasting Sorrow. It's a love story, a tragic love story between Emperor Xuanzong and his Yang Guifei. I can't wait. The performance is based on the long poem The Song of Everlasting Sorrow by the Tang Dynasty poet Bai Juyi, describing the emperor's love for Yang Guifei and his perpetual grief at her loss. One of the four beauties of ancient China, Yang Guifei captivated the emperor. He was so fond of her that he had 700 labourers conscripted just to sew fabrics for her. The emperor even had lychees, their favourite fruit which only grew in southern China, delivered by the imperial courier's fastest horses, whose riders would take shifts day and night to reach the capital. The moving poem is such a classic that it's memorized by Chinese school children even many centuries later. And this nightly performance at the Huaqing Pool certainly brings the story to life with its dancing, lighting and special effects. Well, what can I say? It's full of colour, full of drama and full of passion. I mean, it's incredibly moving to see this dramatic love story played out on the very place where the emperor and his concubine used to live over 1,000 years ago. If you're into Chinese imperial history, you just have to see this for yourself. Up next, we'll journey to see one of the world's most sacred Buddhist relics and check out some exquisite architecture and compelling grassroots music. We'll then top off our stay with a classic XI'AN feast. We're going to Famen Temple this morning, 120 kilometers west of XI'AN. I'm going all the way there to see a finger bone. No, I haven't gone completely mad. This finger bone is considered to be one of the world's most important religious relics. I'll tell you who it belongs to when we get there. In 1987, 4 relics claimed to be directly related to Buddha were unearthed during renovations at XI'AN Temple. Experts say one of the relics is a true relic, being a finger bone of Sakyamuni himself. This futuristic-looking building, created by the same architect who designed Taipei 101, was added to the XI'AN Temple complex to house this most sacred finger bone. The sacred Buddhist relic is held here at the Shirley Pagoda, and the design of this pagoda has cleverly incorporated many of the traditional elements of a temple. Usually temples have freestanding halls. Here, the halls are stacked one on top of the other, rising vertically into the sky, creating an interesting mix of tradition and modernity. Pilgrims travel from far and wide to pay homage to this true relic, in the belief that seeing or being close to it brings good luck. Remember to plan your dates carefully, as it is not always available for viewing. It wasn't meant to be. The monk was telling me that today the relic's not on public display. It's only available on weekends and on the 1st and 15th of the lunar calendar, and only on special occasions. But we got so close though. There, that's where the sacred true relic goes on display. It's securely stored deep under the golden platform in front of the gilded Buddha. A few hundred meters away is the old XI'AN Temple site. It was under the ancient pagoda on its ground that Sakyamuni's finger bone was discovered. In Buddhism, relics of the Buddha are venerated. After the Buddha's death, his bones and teeth were divided for the purpose of being used as relics to illustrate his teaching of impermanence. These relics were taken throughout Asia with the gradual spread of Buddhism. It's believed that the relics show that enlightenment is possible and that Buddha was a real person. After the discovery of Buddha's finger bone, XI'AN Temple became a Buddhist place of pilgrimage. Each year, more and more worshippers make pilgrimages here. While the finger bone is considered to be a true relic, the other 3 relics which were discovered with the true relics are called duplicate relics. 2 of these were made of white jade, and the 3rd relic was from a famous monk. They were placed together with a true relic in order to protect them. The duplicate relics can still be seen at the old XI'AN Temple. Devout believers coming to XI'AN Temple can check into this comfortable hotel on the temple's grounds. It's decorated with Buddhist statues and art. The cool and quietness here have a calming and relaxing effect. Believe it or not, I'm sitting in a 5-star hotel on the grounds of the temple. Some people come here and sign up on a program to improve their spiritual well-being and to delve deeper into the meaning of life at this very sacred place. Fragrance incense. While XI'AN Temple has erected an extraordinary building to protect its holy relic, a businessman has spent his entire fortune on building the Guangzhong Folk Art Museum on the outskirts of XI'AN. Let's see what he's done with his fortune. Are you a culture buff? Have you always wanted to get up close with China's traditional artists? Well, you're going to love the Guangzhong Folk Art Museum, just an hour south of XI'AN. This is the ultimate place to immerse yourself in China's traditional culture. And let's see what they've got in store for us. See all these old buildings here? They've been brought here brick by brick and reconstructed to create this museum. And along this row here is a series of old houses. Some belong to officials, and one belongs to a businessman, and there's one right up there belonging to a martial artist. Full of surprises. With a collection of over 30,000 items and 40 courtyard homes spread over 11 hectares, this is turning into one of China's largest private museums. Apart from the old buildings, the museum also preserves part of the region's intangible cultural heritage. What we're hearing is Laoqiang, meaning old tune. It is a powerful local folk art of storytelling. Art forms like this are believed to have originated with labourers singing work songs to synchronise their movements, accompanied by the rhythmic beating together of pieces of wood. With its distinct rural influence, it's definitely eye-opening. Wow, that was so enthralling. I just had to meet the performers in person. 那这样表演的时候出很多汗。They tell me that Laoqiang is an art form which has been handed down from generation to generation. This grassroots music is definitely an amazing form of living history. That was a performance called Laoqiang, and these are all local farmers singing honestly about their everyday lives. And I didn't quite catch everything that they were singing about, but there were two lines that went something like, when the men return from the fields, women do the cooking, and when men sow the seeds, women give birth to babies. And I was so struck by how powerful their performances were. They were so passionate, you know. They're putting all their energies into the performance. So if you thought the architecture out there was spectacular, this is even more amazing. 谢谢你们，我先走了。还给你。Now it's back to our old haunt in town. Looks familiar? We had delicious dumplings here the other day. Now I'm going to take a few steps to Tongzhengxiang, the Xi'an's most famous food. The classic yangrou paomo is synonymous with Xi'an. Basically, it's a dish of bread soaked with vermicelli and cuts of tender lamb in mutton soup. When you order, you'll be given a large bowl and some flatbread. You need to break the bread into small pieces, the smaller the better. Your bowl will be returned to the kitchen where it's filled with fragrant and flavourful mutton soup. The oily soup has a strong flavour, and the dish is best eaten piping hot when the bread isn't too soft yet. You may be surprised to know that the bread part of the dish has a Middle Eastern connection. Some believe that in the Tang Dynasty, Arabic merchants doing business in Xi'an began eating bread they brought with them with the local mutton soup. The elder ones would break the hard bread to pieces and soak it in the soup to make it easier to eat, thereby leading to the creation of this dish. By the way, they also offer a beef version of the dish if you prefer. With a satisfied belly, now it's time to show you the nighttime charm of this ancient city of Xi'an.
Where are you guys from?
We're from Beijing.
Beijing.
Okay. Oh, we were at Beijing a few days ago. Beijing.
What do you reckon?
Oh.
What do you think of this place?
It's good, but nothing like Beijing. You know,
it's good.
Nothing like the bar scene.
This place? XI'AN is everything I had imagined it to be, and much more. Being here, you'll definitely get a real feel for its long history and rich culture. At almost every turn you take, you're likely to encounter ancient sites with a fascinating story behind them. It's been a true privilege to come here and experience it firsthand. I have to leave XI'AN now. Although I've only just seen a small fraction of this great city, I've been so struck by its glorious history. And the people, they're so friendly and welcoming. They're really proud of their past. They're really proud of their history. So they're doing everything they can to protect it and to share it with the rest of the world. And what's more, I've had some really delicious food, so I leave with a very satisfied belly. I'm XI'AN. Thanks for watching Travelogue.